All right, Steeler fans, time for the mailbag segment. Thank you all for tuning in. Second half of the Wednesday show. Again, I said this in the first half. I'll say it again. I definitely did screw the pooch. I just got the tweet out was out too late. A lot of people missed it. I'm sure they were probably checking their phones, looking for a way to submit their question, and it was not there. And that's on me. That is totally on me. And again, if you want to get your questions answered, all you have to do is find me on Twitter at jhartman, HARTMAN_PIT, and then I'll answer it live. So let's get the show on the road. Believers said the Ride or Die Crew poll of the week. This offseason has been busy, surprising, frustrating, and about 10 other adjectives. Looking at the entire offseason so far, how would you compare the Steelers today to the end of the year? Here are the options. Much improved, slightly improved, the same, or slightly worse. I thought about this for a while, and I thought about areas where they might have been improved upon, both, in the much improved status or slightly improved. I went with the same. And this can change, for instance, if Aaron Rodgers signs, I might say that they're slightly improved. I don't know. But as of right now, I feel like they are just in the same boat as they were at the end of 2024. And that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing. Believers continues, I am not as concerned for the wide receiver 2 position as much as most. I see a much improved running game, Arthur Smith's tight end use history, and add that Aaron is one of the best play action quarterbacks. He's assuming that Rodgers is signing. It makes me think we may be fine without adding anyone. Don't get me wrong. I would love to add a big play guy. All right. So I agree with Believers, and I don't think the Steelers are going to mortgage the future in any possible way to go out and get a player like a wide receiver that they deem to be, as you put it, a big play guy. But I think they'll be able to fill the gaps a little bit. I just would hate to see them say, we made our signing, Robert Woods. And Robert Woods is not that guy anymore. He might be that blocker that you want, but he's not that guy as a receiver anymore. All right, let's go to Jeff Coons, our buddy from up north. He said, greetings from Not Mad Canada. With the Steelers positioning themselves for a 2026 quarterback draft selection, will that impact how much college football you follow this fall? With a future quarterback out there somewhere, does it intrigue you more to watch the top prospects play? This is a really good question. And I want to preface my answer in case anyone is listening to this, they don't know. I'm not a huge college football guy. I've said it a million times and I'll continue to say it. The product is just too watered down for me. There's way too many teams. And then you throw in the transfer portal, NIL deals that are getting broken up and players are moving from one to the other. It's really difficult to track anymore. But I will be honest. I believe the Steelers are going to be drafting a quarterback in round 1 of 2026. And with that being said, I will be tracking the college football season more than I normally do because of that. Will I be watching games? No. Will I be following? Yes. I'll lean on people like Roy Countryman, Jeremy Betts, Andrew Wilbar. And I'm going to say, give me a list of quarterbacks I should be watching. Give me a list of quarterbacks I should be following. Everyone always says, Arch Manning. I don't think Arch Manning is going anywhere. I think he's going to stay at Texas. These players in college that are getting these ridiculous NIL deals worth of over $4 million a year, they would be taking a huge pay cut. And these Texas donors are saying, come in, win us a national championship, then go to the league. Arch Manning's going to get an opportunity. We'll see how he finishes out the year, and then we'll see what he decides to do. But yeah, I will be watching more college football this year than maybe ever, at least keeping tabs on these quarterbacks because I'm curious to see, excuse me, I'll be curious to see who the Steelers could be interested in. And I want to get a front row seat so that I'm as educated as possible heading into the 2026 draft. All right, one more question. And then we have our favorite part, which is the dad jokes. Doc M, Southside Doc. He said, can you describe how the offense should look during year 2 of Arthur Smith's offense? Do they have enough of the players to run the system as intended? It's a really good question. It's not an easy answer either. A lot of the success and or failures of this offense in year 2 of Arthur Smith is going to be based on the offensive line. Can the offensive line hold up in pass protection? Can the offensive line block efficiently enough for the running backs? Can the offensive line do the dirty work to make everything click? I do think that the Steelers have some weapons here. Whether you're talking about wide receiver with DK Metcalf, whether you're talking about even a Roman Wilson taking a step forward, Calvin Austin III, Robert Woods, as I mentioned earlier, tight ends, Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth. You could talk about Parnham as another option. They have some tight ends there. The running back room is, I think, much improved. Caleb Johnson is built for Arthur Smith's scheme. Can they get a quarterback? Is Mason Rudolph that guy? I don't know. We'll see. But what should it look like? It should look like a team that runs the ball at will and uses the run to set up the pass. That's what it should look like. And if anyone's ever curious, like, okay, I want to see it. I want to see what it should look like. Do not go to Atlanta. Don't watch any Arthur Smith Atlanta film. Go back to his time in Tennessee when they went to the AFC Championship game, when they beat the Ravens in the divisional round of the playoffs that year. Go back to those games where you had Ryan Tannehill, a young A.J. Brown, and a younger Derrick Henry. Those were the linchpins of the offense. They had an offensive line that could lead the way. They knew how to open up the holes. Derrick Henry knew how to hit those holes properly. That is something that most people don't see. They see Najee Harris getting bottled up, and they're thinking, man, the offensive line isn't doing their job. When in reality, maybe Najee Harris is missing the hole that is being opened for him. Caleb Johnson, Jalen Warren, and Kenny Gainwell, they have the vision that's necessary to run and utilize Arthur Smith's zone scheme. Do I think it's going to be far and away better than last year? Not necessarily, not until we see who exactly is going to be the quarterback. But I think it should be better than last year. It should be better than last year. Do they have enough of the players to run the system? Well, that's debatable. That's debatable. But again, I think it all comes back to the offensive line for sure. All right, let's finish this up. Like I said, it was a short mailbag today. Steeler fan 69, always providing the dad jokes, said, hello, my friend. I used to work at a fire hydrant company, but I quit after I couldn't find parking. That's a good one. Next, how did the hackers get away from the scene of the crime? They just ran somewhere. Get it? Ran somewhere? I digress. Last one, the tariffs must be working out better than expected. Even the Pope is now made in America. That's a good one. I don't like to get all political or religious there, but hey, good jokes. I give you a DEFCON level 5 there. Good job. Good job there, Steeler fan 69. And that does it. There's not really much going on. We will be dissecting the schedule a lot on Friday's show. We'll have Jeremy Jerome Betts on Friday's show. Make sure you check out the Steel City Insider podcast today at 11 o'clock with Jeremy Ritz and Jim Wexel of SteelCityInsider.com. And make sure you check out SteelCurtainNetwork.com. That website's totally free. We have some really good content there. We'll have the schedule there for you. So in case you want to check it out and you want to see it, if you're a visual learner like I am, you want to see it, go to SteelCurtainNetwork.com. Once it's released, we'll have it right there for you. And don't forget, Wednesday night, tonight, that's when the Steelers preview will do our annual schedule release party, if you want to call it. And we'll give our early predictions and all that fun stuff. We'll have that Dave Schofield, Brian Davis, and yours truly will be there talking all about the 2025 regular season schedule. But that does it for me. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. I'll be back on Friday. In the meantime, you know how we finish these out. Be safe, be kind, and God bless. We'll see you on Friday. Go Steelers.